Portland Fire versus Seattle Storm, full game HIGHLIGHTS, June 17, 2026. What if I told you that one of the most dramatic comebacks in WNBA history almost happened last night, and almost nobody saw it coming? Picture this: a team down 5 points going into the fourth quarter, their best player already in foul trouble. The crowd in Portland getting louder with every single possession. And then silence, because the visitors from Seattle went on a run that made Portland fans hold their breath. But here's the thing: Portland held on, by the skin of their teeth, by 5 points. And the way they did it, that's exactly what we're going to walk through today, every play, every swing, every jaw-dropping moment, because this game was not a blowout. This game was a war. Welcome back. You're watching full game highlights from June 17, 2026, Portland Fire hosting the Seattle Storm. Final score: Portland Fire 94, Seattle Storm 89. But that number alone tells you almost nothing about what happened inside that arena. So sit down, settle in, because this story has real heroes, real heartbreak, and one woman from Portugal who basically broke the game wide open. Let's go back to the very beginning. It is tip-off time in Portland, Oregon. The arena is packed. The energy is crackling. You can feel it, the kind of atmosphere where you just know something memorable is going to happen tonight. These two teams have history. Seattle and Portland, two Pacific Northwest franchises going at each other with everything they've got. Now, before we even get to the first jump ball, let me set the stage for you. Portland comes in as the home team, playing in front of their crowd, and they have one of the most dangerous offensive players in the Western Conference right now, guard Carla Leite. This woman, born in Portugal, trained across Europe, now absolutely lighting up WNBA arenas. She is the engine that makes Portland go. When Carla Leite is locked in, Portland is a nightmare to defend. And tonight, she is going to give us a master class. Seattle, on the other hand, has their own secret weapon, and her name is Dominique Malonga. If you haven't been watching Dominique this season, tonight is your introduction. She is a center, a big woman operating down low in the paint, and she is absolutely relentless. The kind of player who just does not stop. If you give her even a sliver of space near the basket, she will make you pay for it every single time. 2 teams, 2 stars, 1 winner. Let's find out who it is. The opening tip goes to Seattle, and right away you can see what their game plan is. They want to get the ball inside. They want to feed Dominique Malonga early, establish her presence, let Portland's defense know what's coming. It's the kind of opening move that says, "We are not afraid of you, and we are not here to play around." And it works. Early in the first quarter, Seattle is finding lanes into the paint. Malonga gets the ball in a great position, catches it on the block, turns, and goes up strong. Bucket. Simple as that. Seattle draws first blood. Portland answers almost immediately. Carla Leite brings the ball up the floor, surveys the defense, and finds a crease. She drives, gets fouled, steps to the line, and knocks down both free throws. Portland responds. Just like that, it is tied up. But Seattle keeps pressing. Natisha Hiedeman, one of Seattle's guards, is having herself a first quarter. She is knocking down shots from the perimeter, finding her rhythm early, and Seattle starts to pull away just a little bit. There is a stretch early in the quarter where Seattle scores on 3 straight possessions, and you can feel Portland trying to find their footing. Bridget Carleton comes alive for Portland. Now, Bridget Carleton is somebody you need to watch. She is a forward who lives behind the 3-point line, and when she is hot, she is one of the most dangerous shooters in this entire league. In the first quarter, Carleton hits from deep, one of her signature corner threes, and the Portland crowd erupts. That is the kind of shot that changes the energy in a building. Instantly, the home fans wake up. Portland is right there with Seattle. The first quarter ends with Seattle holding on to a slim advantage. The score: Seattle 23, Portland 21. 2 points. That is all that separates these teams after the first 12 minutes of basketball. And already, both teams have shown you exactly who they are. Seattle is physical, they are organized, and Malonga is going to be a problem all night. Portland is scrappy, they are dangerous from deep, and when Carla Leite gets going, watch out. But the real question after one quarter is this: can Portland defend in the paint? Because Malonga is getting too many easy looks down there, and if Portland doesn't find an answer, Seattle is going to run away with this game. The second quarter starts, and Portland does something smart. They make a subtle adjustment on defense. They start sending more attention toward Malonga before she catches the ball, not double-teaming exactly, but making life uncomfortable. Making her work harder for every touch, and it starts to pay off. Meanwhile, Carla Leite comes alive. I mean really comes alive. There is a sequence in the middle of the second quarter that is just breathtaking to watch. Leite brings the ball up the floor, resets the offense, then drives hard off a screen, a defender right on her hip. She pulls up and hits a mid-range jumper. Portland bench goes crazy. Next possession, Leite finds a cutting teammate for an easy layup dime assist, textbook execution. The play after that, she gets to the free throw line and knocks down both. It is the Carla Leite show now, and Seattle is scrambling to find answers. Emily Engsler, Portland's forward, is also making her presence felt in this quarter. She's not going to show up on the highlight reels necessarily, but Engsler is doing the gritty work that wins basketball games. Offensive rebounds, smart passes out of the post, hard fouls taken on drives to the basket. She is giving Portland that toughness and physicality they need to compete with Seattle's size. Seattle is still right there, though. Pham, a forward who has been one of Seattle's most consistent players all season, is hitting shots from all over the floor. She is a tough matchup because she can score inside and outside. In the second quarter, Pham has a beautiful little spin move in the mid-post that catches Portland's defense completely off guard. Scores. Then she comes right back and hits a pull-up three on the next trip down. That is what makes Pham dangerous. You can't just play her one way. But Portland holds their ground. Bridget Carleton hits another three. She is feeling it tonight. She really is, and Portland takes their first lead of the game. The crowd in Portland is on their feet now. This is their team. This is their moment. You can feel the energy shifting. The second quarter ends, and Portland has outscored Seattle 26-25. The halftime score: Portland 47, Seattle 48. Wait, Seattle leads at halftime by just 1 point. One single point after 24 minutes of basketball. This is the kind of halftime score that makes you come back from the concession stand early. This is the kind of halftime score that makes you put your phone down, because whatever is happening in that second half, it is going to matter enormously. Let's talk about what the halftime numbers tell us. Portland's Carla Leite is already looking like the best player on the floor. She has been everywhere, scoring, passing, getting to the line. Bridget Carleton's three-point shooting is keeping Portland competitive every time Seattle threatens to pull away. Seattle's Dominique Malonga is a monster. Even with the extra attention Portland has been giving her, she is still finding ways to score in the paint. She is at the rim constantly, aggressive, powerful, just relentless. And she is getting to the free throw line, which is exactly what you do not want a player of her caliber doing. One possession separates these teams. In the second half, everything is going to be decided. The third quarter is where this game gets truly special, truly cinematic. Because what happens in the third quarter is a tale of two halves. Portland starts the quarter with unbelievable energy, but Seattle finds something in the middle of the period that almost takes the game away entirely. Portland comes out of the locker room playing with fire. They are moving the ball beautifully, sharp passes, good screening, and that infectious energy that comes from being in a tight game with your home crowd roaring behind you. Sarah Ashley Barker, one of Portland's guards, starts to make her presence felt. She is attacking off the dribble, creating contact, getting to the line. Portland pushes ahead. Bridget Carleton hits yet another three. At this point, Carleton has become the shot that Seattle simply cannot stop. Every time they try to take away Carla Leite on the perimeter, Carleton steps up and punishes them. Every time they focus extra attention on Carleton, Leite finds a way through. Portland's offensive system is just too good, and Seattle is chasing shadows. For about 6 minutes of the third quarter, Portland looks like the clearly better team. They are winning the possession battle. They are winning the rebounding battle. Their defense is solid. and they have pushed the lead out to 8 points at one stage. But then, Seattle makes a run. Natisha Hiedeman, who already looked dangerous in the first half, completely catches fire in the third quarter. She starts making threes that are just ridiculous, off-balance, contested, shouldn't-go-in kind of threes. But they go in, every single one of them. Hiedeman hits from the corner, hits from the wing, hits off the dribble. She's one of those players who, when the shot is falling, you almost just have to tip your hat and say, there is nothing you can do. She has taken over. And here is what makes Hiedeman's run so dangerous. She is not just scoring. She is distributing. She sees the floor, finds cutters, makes the right pass. When Hiedeman is locked in like this, Seattle is suddenly playing much more fluid, creative basketball. Malonga is getting easier looks in the post. Awafam is finding open spots on the perimeter. Seattle goes on a 10-4 run in the third quarter. Portland had led by as many as 8. Now the lead is down to a whisker. And then something happens that changes the entire complexion of this game. A flagrant foul. Seattle's Jade Melbourne, their point guard, gets called for a flagrant foul on a drive to the basket. Now, a flagrant foul in basketball is serious business. It means the referee determined that the contact was not simply a basketball play. It was unnecessary, excessive contact. Melbourne gets called. She is clearly frustrated, and Portland gets 2 free throws and possession of the ball. It is a momentum-shifting moment. Portland converts the free throws, gets the ball back, and scores again. What could have been a tied game going into the fourth quarter is now Portland with a lead. The third quarter ends. Seattle 26, Portland 20 in the period. Wait, did I say that right? Let me walk you through this again, because these quarter-by-quarter numbers are telling a fascinating story. After the first quarter, Seattle led 23-21. After the second quarter, Seattle led 48-47 at halftime. After the third quarter, Portland leads 67-73. I'm sorry, let me restate that clearly. After 3 quarters, Portland 67, Seattle 73. Seattle has taken the lead going into the fourth quarter. Despite the flagrant foul, despite the free throws, Seattle outscored Portland 26-20 in the third quarter overall, and now they are ahead. Portland's lead is gone. They need to go out in the fourth quarter and win this game from behind. This is where it gets incredible. We are heading into the final 12 minutes of regulation, and the score says Seattle is in the driver's seat. They are up 6 going into the fourth. Their best player, Dominique Malonga, is having an all-time performance tonight. And yet, somehow, the Portland crowd is not quiet. They are not defeated. They are still in this. You know why? Because Carla Leite is still on the floor. And in a basketball game, as long as Carla Leite is on the floor and the game is close, Portland is never out of it. The fourth quarter begins and Portland does something remarkable. They score on their first 2 possessions, back-to-back buckets, and just like that, the lead is down to 2 points. Portland is right back in it. Seattle tries to answer. Malonga is still getting her looks inside, and she is converting. She is a machine tonight, honestly. But Portland matches Seattle possession for possession. Every time Seattle scores, Portland comes right back down the floor and answers. It is the kind of back-and-forth basketball that makes fans lean forward in their seats because they absolutely know that every single possession matters. Then comes the moment that makes this game one you will not forget. Portland goes on a 10-0 run. 10 straight points. Seattle scores nothing. And in the span of about 3 minutes of game time, a game where Seattle led by 6 turns into a game where Portland leads by 4. The momentum shift is seismic. The Portland crowd goes absolutely wild. You can hear the noise through your screen, the collective gasp, the rising roar, the stomping of thousands of feet on the arena floor. How does Portland do it? Carla Leite is at the center of everything. She makes a beautiful drive to the basket, absorbs contact, and finishes through it. She draws another foul and knocks down free throws with the ice-cold composure of someone who has been in this situation 100 times before. Bridget Carleton, again, Bridget Carleton, comes up with a steal and converts in transition. Portland's defense is suddenly everywhere at once, forcing turnovers, blocking shots, making Seattle uncomfortable on every single possession. Portland's most unanswered run of the game is officially 10 points, and it comes in the fourth quarter when everything is on the line. Seattle calls a timeout. Their coach is trying to settle them down, reset, find a path back. And to their credit, Seattle does not fold. They come out of the timeout and start fighting. Malonga demands the ball in the post, gets it, and scores. Owafam makes a tough mid-range jumper. Hiedeman hits yet another three. She finishes with 5 three-pointers tonight, which is just an astonishing number. But Portland has enough. Carla Leite finishes the game with 20 points and 10 assists. That's a double-double. A signature performance from a player who is absolutely determined not to let Portland lose tonight. In the fourth quarter specifically, Leite is Portland's anchor. She does not panic. She does not force shots. She just makes the right play every single time. When Portland needs a bucket, she gets a bucket. When Portland needs a free throw, she steps to the line and drains it. 10 assists means her teammates trust her completely, and she rewards that trust over and over. Bridget Carleton finishes with 24 points, shooting 53.8% from the three-point line on 13 attempts. 7 threes made. 7. She is one of the best shooters in this league tonight, and it is not even a debate. 7 threes at over 53% is the kind of shooting performance that makes people rewind the highlights just to see it again. Seattle's Dominique Malonga, I said she was a monster, and the stat sheet confirms it. 28 points. 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Shot 63.2% from the field, on 12 of 19 from the floor. She scored 28 points on paint touches, finishing at the rim at an 85.7% clip when she got all the way there. 85%. That is almost literally perfect. And yet, Portland won. Because you cannot give Carla Leite and Bridget Carleton space to operate and expect to come away with a victory. The final buzzer sounds. Portland fire 94, Seattle storm 89. Portland holds on, 5 points, the narrowest of victories, but a victory nonetheless. Let's take a deep breath and walk through the full stat sheet together, because these numbers deserve a closer look. They tell the story of a game that was much closer than the final score might suggest. Portland shot 38.6% from the field overall, not great. But they hit 17 of 42 from three-point range, which is 40.5%. That is excellent three-point shooting. And they got to the free throw line 27 times, converting 23, which is 85.2%. Portland basically lived at the free throw line in the fourth quarter, and when you get to the line 27 times in a game, you are usually going to win. Seattle actually shot better from the field, 47.8% overall. They dominated in the paint, scoring 40 points in the paint to Portland's 18. Read that again. Seattle scored 40 points in the paint, and they still lost. That tells you how important Portland's three-point shooting was. Portland essentially made up the paint disadvantage entirely through their perimeter game. Both teams turned the ball over 14 times. Equal. Neither team won the turnover battle. Seattle had 22 assists to Portland's 20. Both teams rebounded well. Portland had 43 total, Seattle had 42. This was one of the most evenly contested games you will see, decided by shooting efficiency from the three-point line and the ability to get to the free throw line and convert. Portland's bench scored 21 points, which was a significant contribution. Seattle's bench only added 10. That 11-point edge for Portland's reserves was a major factor in the outcome. Now let's go player by player and give everybody their proper due. Carla Leite, guard, 20 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, double-double. I have already talked extensively about Leite, but let me frame her performance one more time in terms of pure impact. An assist-to-turnover ratio of 10-1. 10 assists against only 1 turnover. That is not just good. That is elite playmaking. That is someone who sees the floor at a level that most players can only dream about. When you have 10 assists and only 1 turnover in a game of this magnitude, you are doing something truly special. Leite shot 5 of 11 from the field, but converted 9 of 10 free throw attempts at 90%. She drew 6 fouls, 6. She was consistently putting pressure on the defense, forcing defenders to make hard decisions, and getting rewarded at the line. And her 10 assists mean she made everyone around her better. Every single possession where Leite touched the ball was a potential problem for Seattle's defense. Bridget Carleton, forward. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. 7 threes on 13 attempts. A true shooting percentage of 81.3%. Her efficiency game score was 21.6, which is outstanding. Carleton was the X factor tonight. Every time Portland needed a big shot, it felt like Carleton was the one coming up with it. And defensively, 2 steals and 2 blocks from a forward is genuinely impressive. But here is what makes Carleton's performance so significant. She shot 53.8% from three-point range on volume. 13 three-point attempts is not cherry-picking. That is a high-volume night from deep. When you shoot 13 threes and hit 7 of them, you are not just lucky, you are a weapon. Sarah Ashley Barker, guard. 12 points, 6 rebounds, 1 block. Barker was steady and reliable when Portland needed her most. She scored 12 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and importantly, she had a positive plus-minus of +11. When Barker was on the floor in the fourth quarter, Portland was the better team. She played hard-nosed, winning basketball, and her defensive rebounding in the fourth quarter helped Portland control possessions. Emily Engsleur, forward, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. On another night, Engsleur's line might not jump off the page, but look at what she does. 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 6 rebounds, while also contributing 9 points. She does everything. She is the connective tissue of Portland's team, the player who makes all the other players around her better. A plus-minus of +10 means Portland was a better team when she was on the floor. Megan Gustafson, center, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks. Gustafson's job tonight was primarily to help contain Seattle's paint presence, and she battled hard. 4 personal fouls in her minutes meant she had to be careful, but she contributed 8 points and provided some much-needed size for Portland in the middle. Carly Samuelson, guard, 10 points. 10 points off the bench. When your bench scoring is that good, your team is going to be competitive. Samuelson shot 3 of 6 from the field, hit 2 threes, and knocked down both free throws. For a bench player, that is a fantastic contribution in a 5-point game. Dominique Malonga, center, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, double-double. Let's be absolutely clear. Dominique Malonga was the best individual player on the floor tonight. 28 points and 11 rebounds is a dominant performance by any standard. She shot 63.2% from the field. She scored 24 of her 28 points in the paint. She finished at the rim at 85.7%. She was essentially automatic whenever she caught the ball with position in the post. And beyond the scoring, she had 3 blocks, 2 steals, and 3 assists. She was everywhere. She was active, she was aggressive, she was relentless. The reason Seattle lost this game is not because of Malonga. Seattle lost despite Malonga. She gave her team everything she had, and they still came up 5 points short. That is a testament to just how good Portland was offensively. It took a truly superhuman performance from Malonga just to keep Seattle in the game. Natisha Hiedeman, guard, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. 5 threes made on 8 attempts. 62.5% from three-point range. Hiedeman was spectacular from deep tonight. Her third-quarter shooting run was one of the highlights of the game. She single-handedly kept Seattle alive when Portland threatened to run away with it. 6 assists, only 5 turnovers. Her assist numbers don't jump off the page, but for a guard playing 34 minutes in a tight game, she facilitated well. Hiedeman finished with a fast break points total that shows she was playing with urgency and energy all game long. If Seattle had won this game, Hiedeman would have been a co-MVP alongside Malonga. Awaf Pham, forward, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Pham was excellent all game. Shot 60% from the field, scored 18 points, and was consistently a problem for Portland's defense because of her versatility. She can score in the post, she can shoot threes, she can put the ball on the floor and create. Portland never really had a clean answer for her. But the negative plus-minus of -14 tells you that when Pham was on the floor, Seattle was actually outscored by Portland. That is a strange reality given how well she played offensively. It suggests that Seattle had some defensive breakdowns when Pham was the primary wing defender, possibly getting exploited by Portland's movement and spacing. Jade Melbourne guard, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists. 8 assists is a genuinely impressive total for Seattle's point guard. Melbourne was orchestrating Seattle's offense all night, and she deserves credit for keeping Seattle's offense organized and moving. But the flagrant foul in the third quarter was enormous, a momentum-killing mistake at a crucial moment in a close game. And with a -6+-, Portland's offense was actually more effective when she was guarding them than when she was not. Flye Johnson, forward, 8 points, 2 rebounds. Johnson provided energy and athleticism off Seattle's bench. 8 points with some really nice finishes in the paint. She shot 66.7% on 2-point attempts. She fouled out late in the game, which cost Seattle meaningful minutes from an energetic and effective player in the crucial closing stretches. Zia Cook, guard, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Cook shot 40% from the field and contributed 7 points, but her 4 personal fouls meant she had to play cautiously for much of the game. A -10 is tough. When Cook was on the floor, Seattle was outscored. That suggests her defensive matchups were exploited by Portland's shooters. This game was decided by 2 things. First, Bridget Carleton's 3-point shooting. Portland hit 17 threes tonight. Seattle hit 9. That 8 three-pointer gap is worth 24 points all by itself. In a 5-point game, those extra threes were the margin of victory. Carleton's 7 makes were at the heart of that. Second, Carla Leite's playmaking. When your primary facilitator has a 10-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, your offense is going to run smoothly. Leite did not force the game. She did not try to be the hero every possession. She just made the right play every single time and trusted her teammates to execute. Seattle's biggest problem was that their primary weapon, Malonga in the paint, was drawing attention, but couldn't single-handedly overcome Portland's 3-point advantage. 28 points and 11 rebounds from your center should win you a basketball game, but Portland's perimeter shooting was just too good. The fourth quarter told the real story. Seattle outscored Portland in the third quarter 26-20, taking what looked like a decisive lead. But Portland responded in the fourth with a 27-15 quarter. A 27-15 final quarter. That is dominant closing basketball. That is a team that finds a way. Portland's most unanswered run of the game, 10 points, came in that fourth quarter when the game was on the line. Seattle's best run was 11 points at a different point, but it wasn't enough when Portland came back swinging. If I had to pick one single play, one moment from this entire game that captured everything, it would be Carla Leite's drive to the basket midway through the fourth quarter. Portland is down. The crowd is nervous. Seattle has just scored to push the lead back out. Leite gets the ball at the top of the key, looks at the defense, sees the defender is giving her just a little too much space, and she goes. She drives hard, right shoulder dropped, body leaning into the collision she knows is coming. The defender tries to stay in front of her. Can't. Leite absorbs contact at the rim, finishes with her left hand, and gets the foul. 3-point play. Portland back within 2. The crowd erupts. It is not the most spectacular play you will ever see in basketball. There is no 360-degree spin move. There is no off-balance, fall-away three-pointer. It is just a basketball player deciding she is going to get a basket and making it happen. The competitiveness in that moment is something you can feel through the screen. That is Carla Leite. That is Portland's heart. Portland improves too well. We know they are a team on the rise. A home win over Seattle is exactly the kind of result that builds confidence. Bridget Carleton's night will be a talking point around the league. Carla Leite continues to prove she belongs in the conversation about the best guards in the WNBA. For Seattle, this is a loss that stings. When your center goes for 28 and 11 and you still come up short, that is a tough locker room. Dominique Malonga gave everything. Natisha Hiedeman was extraordinary from 3. And yet, Portland just had enough answers every single time Seattle tried to make a decisive move. Seattle has a tough turnaround coming. They will need to respond, and respond quickly. The good news is that Malonga showed tonight that she is capable of taking over a game. The bad news is that Portland's three-point shooting is going to be a problem for everybody they play, not just Seattle. There is something worth saying about this rivalry specifically. Portland and Seattle, two Pacific Northwest teams, separated by about 175 miles of highway, competing in the same conference. These are not big markets by national standards. They are not the Lakers. They are not the New York Liberty getting nightly national coverage. But in the Pacific Northwest, WNBA basketball means something special. Portland has a fan base that shows up with real passion, and they showed up tonight. Seattle has a storied tradition. The Storm are one of the most respected franchises in the entire league. When these two teams meet, it feels different. It feels personal. The players know each other. Some of them played together in the off-season. Some of them trained at the same facilities. And then they show up on the same floor and go at each other with everything they have. Tonight was a perfect example of what this rivalry looks like at its best. Close, physical, emotionally charged basketball. A game that came down to the fourth quarter. A comeback. A defensive stop when it mattered most. And a crowd that went home happy on one side of the border anyway. Portland Fire 94. Seattle Storm 89. 5 points. That's all that separated these two teams over 40 minutes of basketball. Dominique Malonga played one of the best individual games of the season and still ended up on the losing side. Natisha Hiedeman shot 5 threes and kept Seattle alive every time Portland threatened to blow it open. Awaf Fam was versatile and effective. Seattle had every reason to believe they could win this game, right up until the final buzzer. But Portland was just better tonight. Carla Leite was just better tonight. Bridget Carleton was just better tonight. The story of this game, if you had to put it in one sentence, is this. Portland's three-point shooting overcame Seattle's paint dominance in the final quarter when both teams needed every possession to count. And in basketball, that is sometimes all it takes. One team's strength winning out over another team's strength in the minutes that matter most. If you watched this game live, you were lucky. This is exactly the kind of basketball that reminds you why you fall in love with this sport in the first place. It is not always the biggest stars or the most famous cities. Sometimes it is just two really good basketball teams fighting as hard as they possibly can, with nothing but a game on the line. Portland won, but Seattle gave them everything they could handle. We will see you at the next one. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, consider subscribing. We cover every WNBA game with this same level of detail and storytelling, because these players deserve that attention. The WNBA is producing some of the most entertaining basketball in the world right now, and games like this one are exactly the reason why. Portland Fire 94, Seattle Storm 89, June 17, 2026. Remember this one.